Going to go through this question in two different ways. There's a tried and tested speed, distance, time way, and then there is actually a quicker way. I think it's a bit less obvious, but it is worth watching as well. Okay, first of all, I'm going to just say, right, going by bike, the distance is going to be d, and the time taken to go from home to school and back again is 20 minutes. So I'm just going to look at the time taken to go from um, home to school, and that would be half of that, 10 minutes. So that means the speed, I'm going to call it v for velocity actually, going by bike is going to be d divided by 10. Now, let's have a look at going by foot. Same distance. Now the time to go back, to school and back is 60, so it's going to be 30 just to go from home to school. So the velocity or speed to go by foot is going to be d over 30. Okay, now let's look at the scenario where Mark cycles to school but stops, leaves his bike at Eva's house, finishes his journey on foot, and then basically does the same sort of thing on the way back. So we only really need, again, to look at home to school. So let's say this distance is x to get to Eva's house, and then the rest of the distance is going to be d minus x. And we're going by bike here and by foot here. Remember, we've got the velocity from before, so velocity by bike is distance over 10, and velocity foot is distance over 30, which means we can calculate the time taken for both. So speed equals distance over time, which means time is distance over speed. Therefore, the time taken to go by bike is going to be x divided by d over 10. And the time taken to go by foot is going to be d minus x divided by d over 30. If we add these two times together, that will give us the total time. And we're told that the total travel time was 52, but that was to school and back again. So actually this is going to equal 26. Okay, and we've got an equation that we can now solve. Remember, we're interested in the fraction of the journey that Mark did, not Mark made by bike. So actually we want to work out x in terms of d. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is sort these fractions out. So when I do x divided by d over 10, it's the same as timesing by 10 over d. It's going to be 10x over d. And similar over here, dividing by d over 30 is the same as timesing by 30 over d. So I'm going to get that. Let me multiply through by d, so 10x, and I'm going to expand this bracket, plus 30d minus 30x is going to equal 26d. Therefore, I'm going to get minus 20x equals minus 4d. Divide through by minus 4. Actually, I want to get x in terms of d, so divide through by minus 20, and x is going to be a fifth of d. And that's my answer, 1/5. So there is quite a lot to do, but it's like I said, it's tried and tested. It's like, it will work. Like there are quicker ways, and I'm going to show you the quicker way. But all these sorts of questions, this is quite it's a nice solid approach that will get you to the answer, even if you end up writing quite a lot of working. Okay, method 2. So let fraction, this is courtesy of the official solutions, by the way, that the fraction of journey by bike be k, and therefore the time taken by bike will equal 20k. because it took 20 minutes for the whole journey. So it's 20 times the fraction that would go by bike. And therefore, the fraction walk by foot is going to equal 1 minus k. It's the remaining amount. And the time taken by foot will therefore be the 60 minutes that it took for the whole amount, but times by the fraction by foot. And actually, this is, these are the times are much simpler. They're just in terms of this fraction that we're interested in, k. And so we can add these two together. 20k plus 60, 1 minus k, that is the total time. And that is going to equal 52, which we can now solve for k. So I can rearrange that. I'm going to get 40k is equal to 8, and therefore k is equal to 1/5. So it's got to be said, if you realize to do that, you are doing this question much more quickly. Something maybe worth bearing in mind next time you do these questions. The thing is, like, you can't always do this. It's just because we're asked for the fraction. There's questions where you have like escalators and you're going up and down, and that's why I quite like this method, because this will still work, and you'll need a different approach. But I think I learned that maybe I shouldn't just stick to my tried and tested. There are better ways, and so to perhaps try these more efficient ways and get my head around them. But anyway, ultimately both work. We get this answer of 1/5.